Hey, I know that there's a new Halo game coming out, or there's talk of a new one. And what I noticed with Halo Infinite that bothered a lot of people is that armor coatings just took away all the creative freedoms that, Halo fans are used to when creating their character, right? So here's my suggestion. Here's my suggestion. Instead of having armor coatings that also include all the different color options, because the problem with that is maybe I like the green that's on there, but I don't like the blue that's on there, but they're together, they're a bundled deal, and maybe one thing will keep me from buying it, maybe another thing will make me buy it reluctantly. So here's my suggestion. Paint schemes and colors, two separate options here, okay? Two separate options. The paint scheme basically decides where the paint's going to go, right? So you can have some more classic skins, the paint scheme, like primary will be the majority of the armor, secondary would be like maybe the shoulders, maybe the head, you know, tertiary, the third one could be like the knee pads or whatever. And you could have asymmetric ones, I've given two examples of how it could look, where one has like secondary be on the wrists and the legs, the third one is on the shoulders and a bit on the head. And then you have the second one, which is like the secondary is on the head and the chest, and then the third one's on the shoulders and the knee pads. And here's the thing: you can microtransaction the fuck out of this, Microsoft. You can, you can sell it. You could give them like two basic ones, maybe one that's earned. Let's not kid ourselves. You're probably not going to give them anything that's earned, but you could give them like two basic ones from the start, have a bunch ready to be sold, and I'm sure people would buy that shit up. They'd buy it up mostly because there isn't a color tied to the paint scheme, right? There isn't a color tied to it. What you will have, though, you'll have separate colors to pick from. And these colors could be basic colors. They could be, shades of gray. Notice I didn't add white or black in this list because obviously that's going to be microtransaction, Microsoft. I'm just thinking of you, okay? I'm thinking of all the money you could be making right now if you just sold the paint separately. Because people will be more willing to buy the paint than a armor coating that might include colors that they aren't interested in, right? You could have people that are like, oh man, I sure do like having a fifth white and red color scheme to look at. Nah, they want variety, and they can give themselves variety better than you can. So sell colors to them. Sell them white, sell them black, give them a few colors, so they feel like you're being fair. But you could also sell some crazy ass colors to them. There's like a shinier purple here. There's like that yellow and black striped caution tape. There's this checkerboard pattern, this sort of diamond checkerboard. You could come up with anything. You can come up with anything and sell it to them, all right? And I think people will be more willing to buy it because they'd feel like they have more uh, creative freedom with this. Sure, you're selling all the paint to them. They're not going to have, all the options up front, but the fact that they aren't stuck with a paint scheme that they might not be interested in because you give them these armor coatings that include paint schemes as well as where the paint goes, they might not like it. They might like the color white and the color mint or whatever, but they don't like that mint is the majority of the armor with just a white head that looks gross. All right, they won't like that. So if you set it up to where there's a paint scheme, they can pick where the colors go to some extent. They don't have total freedom. They're not just using MS Paint like I am, where they could just paint wherever they want to paint, but they can buy a paint scheme and they can buy the color separately, and I'm sure they'll be happy with it. Okay, I am. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on how, customization could go. Naturally, I would think armor and shoulders and head should all be like separate armor pieces to go through instead of what Halo 5 did. Halo 5 was a fucking disaster. But yeah, those are my thoughts.